Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you one of our most popular products from Miss Main, which is the seamless clip-in hair extensions. So they come in this box, which is really great because you can use this to store your extensions, especially for the clip-ins when you're not using them. That way they don't get dusty, they don't get dirty, and you don't have to wash them as often. And by doing that, they actually will last you for much longer as well. So as you can see, you've got all the do's and don'ts and all the care instructions on the inside cover of the box, which is great. So just make sure that you read this properly. And the best part is that you don't have to memorize it, because as long as you hang on to the box and you're using it to store your extensions, then you can always refer back to it in case you have any issues. So it tells you everything about how often you should wash them, how you should brush them, etc. Now, speaking of brushing, which is actually very important. So for me, I don't use any brush. I find that a lot of brushes, especially when the hair is tangled, they tend to kind of tug on the hair strands and therefore end up breaking it. And if you use those kinds of brushes, then your hair extensions are not going to last you as long. So my advice, and this is a brush that I use on my own hair as well as my hair extensions, is basically a tangle teaser brush. So the best part about this brush is that it's got really soft bristles, so if the extensions are tangled and you're tugging on it, then it won't actually break the hair, it'll just help untangle it, which is great. As you can see, you get your extensions in the box. Now these are the seamless ones, and the reason that they're called seamless, and I will show you, is that the applicator part at the very top, it has clips like any other clip-in hair extensions that you may have seen or even used before. The best part about these is that the actual part where the hair is bound to the clip-in is so thin and it's so flat that it's light when you apply it to your own hair, which is good, because at the end of the day you don't want it to be too heavy for your own hair, because then what ends up happening is that it tugs on your natural hair and ends up pulling it out, which is why a lot of people have that perception that hair extensions are bad for you because they cause hair loss. Well, that's not necessarily true. So if you're using something like this product here, where each strand is so light and doesn't pull out the hair, then you won't end up actually having any hair fall other than what you would anyways encounter with or without hair extensions. Like I said, it's very flat. The applicator part actually is not as thick as you may have seen in other hair extensions or clip-in hair extensions, which is great. Now, flatness is very important, because then when you actually apply it to your own hair, what ends up happening is that it sits flat on your head. And this is great, especially for people with thin hair, because you don't want it to bulge, you don't want it to kind of stick out. So the best part about this one is once you apply it, and mind you, I've got them in right now as well, so maybe I'll just show you very quickly. So if I was to actually do this, and I've got them all the way here, but you can't actually see, or you can't actually tell that they're in there, because they sit so nice and flat on your head. And I love that, because at the end of the day, no one wants for it to be obvious that you're wearing hair extensions. That's not the point. Now, what I also like to do as well with these, because they're so thin, this is really great. So if you tend to have a smaller head where there are too many pieces to try and fit them all, because then obviously you kind of move up and you've got so many layers, and then you might get to the top and you're out of space. So what you can do, because these are so thin, is I like to actually double them up. So I basically take a 3 and I clip it onto the 4, and that way you don't have to worry about running out of space when applying your clip-in hair extensions to your head. And they also still sit flat, although you've got 2 doubled up. So the best part, and you can see that right there. Now, this is also great if you actually want length and don't care so much about volume, because what ends up happening is that you can double them up and then you apply them lower in your head, so you don't have to keep moving up and up and up. So by halving the amount of applications, you can actually hold them all in the bottom half of your head, and therefore you get the length that you want. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the sizes. Now, you get the longest piece, which is the 4 clips. You get 2 of these. So you get 2 of everything except for the single pieces. So you also get 2 of the 3, and then you have 2 of the double clip, so just the 2 clips. And last but not least, you have these little babies, which I love. So these, I actually use them for touch-ups. So if I apply all the long ones and then I kind of feel that there might be gaps when I brush my hair, what I use is I use these to fill in the gaps. So I find it most useful to apply to the front of the head, because what ends up happening is when you apply the long ones to the back, they will never be able to reach the front half of your head. So you always will end up having that separation line between the front, which is your natural hair, and then the back, which is your hair plus the extensions. So what I like to do is I like to use these to clip them in at the front of the head. And like I said, the best part is that they're so thin and small, you can't even see them. So you can go as far to the front as you want, or you can even go as high up as you want. So I like to take two on each side. I put one right above my ear and then another one also above the ear but a little bit higher up. That way you get the extensions all the way to the front and no one can even tell you've got hair extensions in. So check it out on the website, guys. There's a whole range of colors. So we've got about 7 colors from the lightest of blondes to the darkest of blacks. And then we also have ombre, which is really great, and that's what I'm wearing right now. Take a look, missmainme.com. Otherwise, browse our Instagram, and if you have any questions, then please feel free to shout. Send us a DM, send us an email, give us a call. We're more than happy to help. Bye, guys.